It's Tara, she of all things transformational, transformational guidance coaching, transformational bodywork, and for our purposes here today, transformational yoga-ish. So today we're actually not going to so much do yoga poses, nor are we going to do juggling, although that's what it would appear by all these balls that I'm holding here. We're going to do some exercises for the feet to massage, to stretch, and to tone, because the feet are so important. Last week I was teaching to a yoga student. She's in her 70s, and she has been talking to doctors about whether or not it's time to have surgery on her bunions. I've had lots of clients, particularly massage clients over the years, who have had surgery on their bunions. And you know what? It's okay. You can get surgery on your feet for problems. However, there are things we can do to help our feet to sustain foot health and also to prevent deterioration of the posture of our foot bones and musculature. And by the way, posture does not only belong to our back, it belongs to any part of the body. All parts of the body have different kinds of posture and postural alignment, and it can be more optimal or less optimal. Some of this is genetics and some of this is lifestyle. So if one has a genetic propensity to something, then it is your responsibility, if you want to maintain this gift of your body, it is your responsibility to make sure that the propensity doesn't develop into some kind of disease, misalignment, etc. Can we control it all? No, but we can do a good deal for ourselves by having wise, intelligent, and informed practices, and by forming great connection to our bodies. So I'm just going to comment real quick that there are 3, maybe 4 parts of the body that are sort of the keystone parts of the body that maybe all other problems in the body, muscular, skeletally speaking, and therefore also sort of pain and comfort wise and functionality of the muscular skeletal system, so mobility, range of motion, etc. There's 3 or 4 key parts, and this is a debate that I've been holding in my mind since 1998, when the question was first posed to me in a massage therapy continuing ed course. And those 3 parts of the body are the neck, especially the occipital ridge, the back of the skull, the tailbone, sacrum, and the feet. And the question was, from where do all the problems in the body occur? And over these 25 or so years that I've been in practice as a massage therapist, I've been debating that question myself. I've worked on thousands of people's bodies. I have taught thousands of people. I own a body. And I have to tell you, I'm not sure which one of those is the keystone, but I can tell you that the feet are really important. So what you're going to want to do today for what we're doing is you're going to want to gather some different size balls if you have them around your house, and if not, these are all super easy to acquire. Tennis ball, make sure it's not one that your dog has chewed, and keep it away from your pup. This is just one of those bouncy balls that you can get for $0.25, you know, in the machine in like the grocery store or whatever. A golf ball. This is a bigger bouncy ball. And then this is just a little football shaped kind of squishy ball. But my point in showing you this one is that be creative, look around, maybe a dryer ball will work or something else, okay? You have things in your house that you can use. So you're gonna need that, and then eventually we will also use a blanket today. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna decide which one of these balls that we want to try to massage the feet with. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is the harder, like a golf ball, or smaller, like this rubber ball, the more specifically you're going to be able to get between the bones and really kind of get into the long fibers of the muscles of your feet. The bigger the ball, the more broad. So, and the softer the ball, the less intense. So for today's purposes, I'm going to go with this medium-sized bouncy ball and a tennis ball. And you can do this sitting down for sure. In fact, sometimes I recommend to my clients that they keep some of these underneath their work desk so they can do this when they're at work, or maybe, you know, where they watch TV in the evening. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to start to roll our foot on one of these balls. And if you need to, you know, if you're standing and you need to touch a wall for balance, by all means do that. But you know what? It could also be a little balance exercise, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, developing those or maintaining those muscles of the core and your standing leg. So you can just start to go back and forth. And as you go back and forth, I'm kind of on the front top edge closer to the toes. And I'm just going back and forth in a zigzag. So I'm getting between each metatarsal and its neighboring metatarsal. Those are the long bones of your foot that are here. And I'm just massaging in between those. So kind of middle of the arch, up over the ball of the foot. I'm hearing little cracks in the foot, little snap, crackle pops. And then you can start to get on the inner edge of your arch. This might be sensitive. So, you know, adjust your pressure accordingly. And you can go zigzag over to the outer edge of your arch. People tend to love the pinky edge of their feet to be rubbed. Everybody's foot's different though. And then you can kind of get to the heel and go around the heel a little bit. Back and forth, side to side. Getting more into those tarsal bones. And then just in front of the heel, before you dip into the arch, you can bear a little weight for a moment and kind of slightly pulse. That's an acupuncture point called kidney 1, and that is a point that stimulates all the systems of the body to work well, so might as well hit it, right, while we're here. And just going around some circles, getting around the arch. So some people have really tight arches. This is where plantar fasciitis comes in. This is something typical for people who work on their feet. This is something typical for runners, you know, people who are spending a lot of time doing repetitive motion with their feet. So massaging the feet is really important if you're one of those kinds of people. And also, if you have plantar fasciitis, this is excellent. Okay, so I'm going to move on. And you could follow it up with the tennis ball, which is a little broader. So you'll be getting kind of more into the fascia when you do something broader. Fascia is the connecting tissue. So just switch to your second foot. And again, we're going to make that little zigzag kind of between the metatarsals, up on the ball of the foot, getting between each toe, back and forth. And you know what? This is a great time to pause the video and just do this as long as it feels good. Don't cheat yourself. The feet are amazing, right? There's a whole map of the entire body. All the systems of the body are on the bottom of your foot. So even though maybe you don't know the reflexology chart, you can know that you're doing good for everything when you work your feet. So just keeping in mind that the foot is this, you know, diagram of all your organs, all your tissue. Go back and forth across the arch, get to the heel, work the heel bones and the heel tissue a little. Good. Should feel good, by the way. Okay, this should feel good. Okay, and then if you want to follow it up with some of the tennis ball, go ahead. And the golf ball, remember the golf ball is going to be a little harder, a little bit more specific. So, play around with what works for you. I switch between all of these different tools and I recommend them to my clients and my students. Have a basket of these things in the yoga studio. Okay, so next thing we're going to do, we'll just push that out of the way, and you're going to start to see if you can kind of separate your toes around a medium-sized ball and kind of start to create some space between the toes. We'll just do that for a couple runs on each foot, creating whatever amount of space. Sometimes the balls shoot out, so listen, this is just real life here. If I lose one across the floor, you'll have to forgive me, okay? Yeah. And then if you happen to have one of the smaller balls here, you can practice picking it up with your feet. So we start to practice toning the bottom of the foot tissue. So see if you can pick it up. And when you pick it up, you're toning those muscles on the bottom of the foot. Very important. Flat-footedness is not good. We need the arch. The arches of the body are in the body for a reason. That's what gives us buoyancy. The arches of the feet give us buoyancy. We have diaphragms all through the body, and they're arched. And those diaphragms in the body, which is what the arch of the foot essentially is, those diaphragms of the body give the body buoyancy and help us to have this, verticality and have this ability to lift off of earth. So you can practice picking up the ball, or you know what, as you're going around your house throughout the day, maybe instead of picking everything up with your hands, maybe occasionally you practice picking something up with your foot, with your toes. Use your toes like little fingers. Okay, so on that same note, now we're going to do an exercise that I have to tell you, this isn't my favorite one, but it's good. It's a good practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to use those same muscles to cup our feet on the floor like this, and then you're going to walk. So kind of like a little awkward Frankenstein walk, but you're really lifting the arches and you're on your toe tips. So just walking around the room on your toe tips, arches lifted. Good. And then after you do that for about a minute, you can stand. And actually, let's put a little yoga pose in here. We'll do Tadasana. So bring your weight to your heels, feet parallel, more or less lined up under your anterior bone of your hips. Let's lift the toes a bit. Open up the palms. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Why don't you close your eyes and just feel the way your feet feel right now. They should already feel quite enlivened. Yeah, good. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a toe separating exercise. And this is really, really good if you do have a tendency towards bunions. So I'm going to start on my right leg, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to internally rotate, turn the right leg in, peg that big toe down, and then spread the other 4 toes and drop my heel. I'm going to do it again. Peg the left big toe down, spread the other 4 out, drop the heel. Step back, right foot, peg the big toe down, turn the other 4 out, drop the heel. You're just going to do this, if you're on a yoga mat, do it the length of the whole yoga mat. You can do this on a floor. You just need to have your feet bare and a floor that your toes will kind of stick to. So we're just spreading the toes. So in our country, well, the country I live in, which is America, we put our shoes and feet. We put our feet in shoes most of the time, right? And a lot of the shoes are fashion shoes that have pointed toes. Guess what? They're cute, but they are not good for the body. Because what they do is they cause the posture of the toes to point together, and then they cause the other end of the toe bones to flare out. So they give rise to bunions. So if you have a genetic propensity to bunions and you've been putting your feet into shoes for your life, and some of those shoes might have been pointy, you're actually kind of promoting the progression of a bunion or bunions in your feet. So we want to try to counteract that by doing exercises like this. Okay, so when you get to the back of your mat, what you're going to do is you're going to reverse engineer this, and we're going to spread from the pinky toe out. So now I'm going to externally rotate my right leg, peg my pinky toe down, turn the leg to face forward, spreading the other 4 toes in, and then land the heel. And then you're going to step forward with the left foot, peg the pinky toe down, turn the leg in, land the heel. And we're just going to do this walking back up to the front of the mat. Remember, you don't really even need a yoga mat for this. You can do this when you're in your kitchen, making your morning coffee, you know, this can happen anytime. When I was in India a bunch of years ago, I noticed that, you know, a lot of people in India don't wear shoes, they wear sandals. And some of the feet of the people in India, their toes were so spread and long that they were actually wider at the toe tips than at the ball of the foot. They just have these amazingly developed and well spaced out feet. It was really fascinating to see the difference between the feet of those people versus the feet of Westerners who wear shoes most of the time. Okay, so when you get back to the top of your mat, let's just come into Tadasana again. You don't have to lift your toes this time. Just bring the weight to your heels. Open up the arms, hands. Take a deep breath and feel your feet. They should feel tingly, alive. They might even feel a little disturbed. We're interrupting patterns potentially. Okay, now we're gonna grab a blanket. So a towel will do, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be a fancy yoga blanket. But if you do have a yoga blanket, you're gonna take this blanket and roll it. I gotta tell you, this is not my favorite exercise because it kind of hurts, but it's really good for the feet. So if your feet are really tight or tend towards cramping, this may or may not go well for you. You're just gonna do your best, okay? So I'm gonna have this blanket, actually I don't want that fringed end, I want that fringed end tucked in so the fringe isn't on my feet. I'm a little particular about my blanket rolls. Okay, so you're gonna kneel on the floor. You could have something under your knees too if you want. And you're gonna start with this blanket under the curve of your ankles. Not a big deal yet, probably. If this is too much on your knees or on your hips, you can be up higher, you know, sitting on a maybe a block kind of on the blanket or something like that. And there are ways to modify this as well. So you're gonna start there, and then you're just gonna scoop each knee a little bit forward until you're starting to be more the tops of your feet on the blanket. Okay, a little stretch, not too crazy. Take a breath, exhale, scoot a little bit more forward. Let as much of your weight down as you can. Starting to stretch the anterior portion of the ankles. Trying to keep the heels underneath the hips. Try not to let the toes flare out. Nice deep breath, exhale. A little bit farther forward. You could pull up your knee skin also. That'll Add just one more percentage of depth to this practice. Take a deep breath. If it's starting to be too much intensity, you can lean forward a little bit, weight on the hands, okay? Another little scoop forward, exhale, let your weight down as much as you can. Another thing you can do is you can press the hands into the blanket, and that'll de-escalate the intensity a little bit. Deep breath. Let the tops of the feet start to respond. Let the fascia and the muscles start to lengthen. At this point, I don't even have to move forward. I can just pull the skin up, and the skin of my knees up, and that's going to give me a little bit more depth here. But then when you're ready to scoop forward just a little bit more. Oh yeah, feeling it now. I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? I bet you are. If you need to come out, you can come out. Remember, you can always peace out when you're ready. Oh yeah, now we're in it. Okay. Scoot a little bit more. Knee skin up. Ooh, breathe. Keep the breath going. A little bit more. Yeah. Good. Let the weight down as much as your body's willing, but regulate it by putting some pressure through your hands into the floor or leaning forward. Then eventually you're going to kind of slide off. You can come fully off as you're ready. Doing my best to get the toes completely. And then if you can, you can kneel for a second. If this is still under the toes a little, you're welcome to push it out. Take a breath, feel the feet. Yeah. Okay, and then we're gonna do the opposite. So, for this one, you know what? I'm gonna just unroll this and put it under my knees since I have it here. For this one, what we're gonna do, actually, before we do anything, let's just kind of wiggle those toes around, wiggle the ankles around a little bit, get some blood going. And then when you feel like you're ready, you're gonna come to hands and knees, and you're gonna tuck the toes as best as you can. Okay, so this may be a stretch for the bottom of your feet already, depending on your body. If you have more capacity, you're gonna tuck those toes. I'm gonna kind of grab the mat with the bottom of my toes and start to lean the hips back towards the heels. So the more you bring your hips towards the heels and the more vertical you're able to come with the body, the more the stretch you'll have, the more you can get the, toes flat on the mat, the more stretch you're gonna have. If you have arthritis or something, you're gonna be staying more forward. So I do actually have a little injury in my right big toe, so I'm kind of leaning off of it a little bit here. And then you're gonna release and move the toes and the ankles a little bit. And then what we're gonna do to finish up is we're just gonna lay down here, and you can lay on this blanket if you want, or just lay flat. And you're gonna bring your foot across kind of a figure four, and we're just gonna give the foot a little bit of massage. So try not to round the outer ankle. You can kind of make some circles with the ankle, and this is what I call living room floor yoga. I'm not really doing yoga, I'm just kind of connecting with my body, connecting with the feet. I'm giving a little massage to the Achilles, to the front of the ankle. I'm gonna feel into the texture of my foot so that I have connection to what my feet feel like too, as the feet, as the person touching, not just as the person owning the feet. I want to feel, what does the tissue feel like? Is it pliable? Is it gritty? Is it hard? You know, the tissue of the feet should have tone and tensegrity, but also some flexibility, some softness. This is pretty much true for, you know, most of the body. We should have tensegrity, like a bridge has tensegrity, and that's what keeps a bridge up, but not overt, over the top tension. That's where we get into issues. So we're just gonna finish with this little foot massage, getting to know your foot comfortably. Switching when you want. You can do this as much or as little as you want, right? This is up to you. And guess what's a really good time to do this? Before bed. Oh, that is the best. What you do is you grab some kind of very natural kind of oil, or shea butter is great, or cocoa butter, something natural, no additives, and rub it into your feet. Coconut oil is really good. Sesame oil is really good. Rub it into your feet, maybe a couple drops of your favorite essential oil, and give yourself an excellent foot massage before bed. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep the tissue of your foot healthy by doing that. You're going to keep the skin of your foot healthy. Have you ever noticed feet tend to dry out a little bit? You're going to keep the nails healthy, and you are going to sleep better for it. Trust me on this one. So, once you've done both feet, you can just raise the feet up, give a couple more wiggles. You're going to do your best to spread the toes. Look at the toes. See if you can see between the spaces of each toe and its neighboring toes, so you're developing some foot strength. Good. And then we're going to relax. We're going to bring the feet to the floor. Just extend the legs down the floor and take a couple breaths and feel what it feels like to have your feet so well attended to. And while you're laying here taking a couple breaths, how about you thank your feet? Thank them for everything that they do for you. They have walked miles with you. They have, you know, stood and probably had minor injuries. If your feet are injured, you know, think about what resilience they have had. Thank your feet. Your feet are very, very special, so thank them. And while we're on the subject of thank you, I want to say thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video with me. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, you know what to do, right? You give that thumbs up button a little tickle, give me a little like. You could share this with someone. I bet you know someone who could benefit from this information. You could comment. And of course, please subscribe and subscribe with notifications. I'm putting some yoga video up at midweek every week. And then also, I'm occasionally putting up videos about, you know, thought forms and energy and the law of attraction and how we create and manifest. So all sorts of good stuff. Thank you so much. Namaste.